Gonna rock it now. Gonna rock it now. By Jackson Aurelia. Jackson Aurelia. Gonna rock it now. Gonna rock it now. Rock it, Jackson Aurelia. T-Force.
Welcome to the rework of the T-Force. Now we going hard cause we bumping at the beat source. It's a 3-course dinner of dudes bringing the news and stats, interviews and casts from the pro scene. So fresh and so clean, like you're leaning with Nami in the bot lane. Keep it hot like brand, practicing his dot game. Give it to you easy like you're Resi in a bot game. Imagine Draven at prime time. Now ulti like LeBlanc can copy that 4 times, but manlier. Knock it up like Malphite planning a family-er. You gotta be tuned in like Sona on the ad wall. Get on the chat call. Can a podcast really be all that? Of course. How do 4 guys make a Triforce?
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host for this evening. I am happy and very glad to be back in the hosting chair and to be able to take this back over, because as much as you guys enjoy Days, and I think she does a fantastic job, I really, really enjoy being on this podcast. So,
yay.
I did miss you all last week.
Good
I
thing
turned
you do.
you on while you guys were live last week, actually.
Oh, geez.
Oh, thanks. You're the best. I hope you enjoyed it.
So you watched. I thought you meant something else.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no.
Out of the gutter.
only DeClaude is the only one I can turn on with my lovely voice and my unshaven face.
Yeah,
He's
you
like,
wrecked us. All right.
But guys, thank you so much for watching the Trinity Force Podcast. This is episode number 217. We are brought to you by Prolific Games. Right now, you guys can go out and get yourself a copy of this awesome game called Flapjacks and Sasquatches, which I have a quick story to tell you about this. So I played this weekend, and there was tons of yelling and screaming, and there's like cards in here. So first of all, go to bit.ly/tforcegame. Go check it out. They funded their Kickstarter. Okay, so that's, congratulations.
So congrats, guys.
Yes.
Yes. They have funded their Kickstarter. However, they can keep going, which is okay. They get more money, and you get more awesome stuff. So by going out there and giving them $40, for example, you get this game, which is normally like $25 or $30 on Amazon or any shop you go into, plus the expansion. So for $10 extra, you get an expansion to this awesome card game. Now, this card game is all about being a lumberjack and trying to chop down trees, but there's like all these awesome cards that stop you. And like the one that we were yelling about was, what was it? Oh, there was one that allows you to both players roll a dice, and then the player with the highest gets the other person's tree. You have to swap trees. And so, like, one person had, like, an 8-point tree, and the other person had, like, a 4-point tree, and they're swapping. Like, you son of a bitch, I can't, like, why would you pick me? And that's all that kind of stuff happens. So it's a really fun game. Flapjacks and Sasquatches. Go out there, guys. Go check out the Kickstarter. $20.
Their Kickstarter still goes on for another 8 days, so go and show some support, because, they're good guys.
Yeah, and you get more. If you go, you get, like, dice, and there's more to the expansion, and there's more to that. But, yeah, bit.ly/tforcegame. It's in the description. Thank you, Prolific Games, for sponsoring us. And again, your game is awesome fun. We will have vines and everything of Punch, Chira, and I playing it here shortly. So, other than that, guys, don't forget to go check out the LCS Rundown, because on December 14th, which is this upcoming week, they are going to have the North American Challenger team Inertia Gaming onto the show as a special guest. They'll have their team manager and some other players on the show to talk about the LCS and answer some community questions. So if you have questions to ask a Challenger team, or you really want to know something about the LCS, tune in live to twitch.tv/T-Force Podcast, and then go to the Reddit, which is /r/T-Force Network, and then go and put your questions in the thread. DeClaude, you look like you wanted to say something. I don't know.
I actually stifled a burp. I'm sorry. I know Lancefer hates when I do it out loud, so I stifled it. For you, buddy.
Thanks.
Are you drinking a stout?
No, I am drinking. Sorry, Lance.
Nothing now.
Now it's all over the floor.
Deschutes Brewery. They have a winter ale called Jubilee, and I picked it up today because I've never tried it before. And the label sold it. If you're not watching, if you guys don't watch this live, you're missing out. Like, look at this. Look at that label. Everyone's having fun. There's a dog. They're all like,
God damn it! There's a very happy dog on that label.
Jubilee. Don't you see?
Well, I know it's Jubilee, but it's pretty much Jubilee. So it's
No,
it's
not.
Jubilee. Looks good.
It tastes like Christmas.
Oh, I bet it does. Beautiful, beautiful Christmas.
What more could you ask for from a Christmas ale?
What else more could I ask for? I could ask for more
Shut up.
League of Legends discussion.
All right.
Yeah, we should get on to that.
Look at that. I kept it under 10 minutes. Fuck you guys. Fuck everybody out there.
Way to go.
I can't keep it under 10 minutes. I did it. So, guys, we are going to obviously no days on tonight. So I know you're all getting happy about the Zyra discussion, but it wasn't going to happen tonight anyway because we have so much to talk about. IEM happened this weekend. IEM San Jose with a number of great teams. We're not going to talk about what happened in IEM San Jose because that's for the LCS rundown, but we are going to talk about what is popular, what is being picked. Excuse me, man, I can't stifle a burp. What is being picked? What is why they're picking it? Why the meta is favoring it? And what was it? A week ago, I was on the podcast and I said the assassin era is coming to an end. I didn't say it's done. I just said it's coming to an end. And we actually got a question in the mailbox that said, "Well, can you explain why the assassin era is coming to an end?" And we're going to talk about that tonight as well. And I can come out with that. So. Really, I mean, I guess that's going to kick it off. Why is the Assassin era? Does anybody want to try to take a guess as to why the Assassin era is coming to an end?
No, because I'm not sure I believe you.
Okay. So,
but on the other hand, Season 4, there was a huge drop in Assassins as well. So Assassins haven't been on the forefront for a while, I'd say. And they've come back a little bit. Like, Zed's definitely back. Zed's got a really good win percentage.
I still see a whole lot of Assassins being picked or banned, too. So.
I mean, Akali's being banned because she's super powerful. And then it's only like Zed and Fizz at this point in time, like the super assassins.
That's still too many assassins for my liking.
Well,
if it's anything more than 0 assassins, no, it's no good.
Well, what it really comes down to is while Zed and Fizz and Akali are super powerful, they are banned quite a bit, so you're not allowed to play them. So you have to pick other champions around that, but that's not entirely the reason that I'm going for. It's because Dragon is so powerful at this point that the meta has evolved to be poke comps. Like for the most part, both teams are picking some sort of poke comp. While you can have it all engage, you have some kind of poke factor to it. So you need to find that really powerful all engage or pokey mid that allows you to stifle Dragon attempts. We see a lot of Syndra. We see a lot of Xerath. We see a lot of Orianna. I can keep going from there. And plus, what we'll keep talking about is Morellonomicon is cheap. Cheap and easy to buy right now. It's 2,100 gold for 80 ability power and 20%
It's the new
CDR.
First item for mids.
Right. Yep. And we'll get to why in the podcast. But that's my reasoning is because right now Dragon is so powerful. And I guess the question that was proposed all weekend is the first Dragon buff worth contesting? Is it worth taking if you can get the second one? And that's to anybody to answer. And I think
the first one, definitely. The first one's a spike. The 8% AD and AP, it's a spike. It's a longsword or an amplifying tomb in the early stages.
Right. That's actually, that was one of the things that the devs talked about in the Ghostcrawler episode. Yes, you're not getting the global gold, but you're making up for that global gold and getting a straight buff to stats that would be, at that point, slightly better than the first Dragon global gold amount anyway, because you're getting more damage in comparison to that item that you would be buying.
Yeah.
At least early.
The big discussion this weekend was, is it worth it to get that first dragon when you can take a tower? This is actually the same thing that I brought up. I don't remember if you guys remember from the Ghostcrawler episode. It's the same thing I said to him. I said, why would I give up that? Why would I why would I not take that tower, that middle tower, and let them have the dragon? Or why would I not take that outer tower or whatever it was and push harder and take a second tower and let them have the dragon? Like, why do I care enough about that 8% AP or AD? I guess it's 6% now.
Well, here's my thought on it. The turret doesn't respawn. So if you're confident that you can handle their early 8%, because earlier in the game it has less impact. Later in the game, 8% is more because you're going to have more items to boost that. So I personally, I think it's better to go for that mid turret to control the dragon area, because then you get it later where it's more important.
Also, keep this in mind. When you're taking the dragon, you're stopping the other team from taking it too. And obviously, for obvious reasons, you want to keep the enemy team from taking as many dragons as possible. So if you take their mid objective, or if you don't take their mid tower, they're not going to take their mid tower. Like there's no objective there that they can take by you passing on it, right? But if you pass on dragon, they're going to go take that.
Well, the other piece of that too is if you're able to take it without them being able, like, say that they don't try to fight you at dragon and they don't get a timer. That's also a lot of information that you have that they don't, that you can turn around and use to your advantage to try and take another one later. Like, say you're playing a strong jungler or even like a strong like top laner who potentially could be able to solo dragon. If you have the timer on it and they don't, and they're just going past, you clear the ward or whatever, and you know that it's not going to be up for another minute and a half, you can already be there and take it pretty quickly.
Right.
Because there are certain junglers that have a much easier time killing that now, and who can definitely solo it themselves.
I played some solo queue games this weekend. I played 5 of them, and came out in the positive, but the games that I lost, my team didn't. The other team got Dragon, and they were beating us because they had Dragon. They had that extra buff. They had extra damage. And while in solo queue, I'm saying in solo queue, I would say 100% of the time contest the Dragon if it's possible for you to properly contest the Dragon. Don't just do it because you're filtering.
That's what I was going to touch on. If you contest it properly, if they out-rotate you and for whatever reason you're caught out of position, they get to the Dragon first and they're going to finish it, don't panic and start trickling in one by one and getting killed, trying to kill that Dragon. Sure, the jungler might try for a cheeky steal. If you can get it, great. But everyone else, don't just trickle in there one by one. Oh my God, Dragon! If you can, everybody group up and get a turret instead and make the best out of a bad situation. But you do want to contest that Dragon if you can. So just keep it in mind. Keep like Punch was saying, keep the timer in mind so that you're there and can contest it when. Sure, whatever. You're the same person. can contest it whenever.
Thanks.
Well, that goes back to
Sorry, buddy.
Goes back to the original topic, which we spawned off of, is why is the assassin meta coming to an end? It's because of that reason. Go ahead.
All right, I just want to touch one more on the topic of trading one objective or another objective for Dragon. Yeah. And I like how you specifically talked about mid tower, which I think is really important because obviously mid tower is the most important tower. When you take that, it just opens up the map for you. But I think that if we're looking at the other towers comparison, I would almost always take, and I'm talking about the other two outer towers, like top outer tower, bottom outer tower. I think I'd always almost prefer Dragon to those, because those in the mid game are actually pretty easy to take down just from a split pusher. Like a split pusher can go take that.
You'll
like
get them on the map
pretty
much, yeah.
Right, and it's not nearly as much map control if you take one of those.
I agree with you. But my counter argument, like the devil advocate counter argument, would be if I'm playing fives and I know that I can keep two people back to stop them from pushing mid tower right from taking Dragon, for example. If I have a team that has enough poke in it, we have like a Corki Oriana, I don't know, just throwing out names at this point that I think of, and then you continue to push down top lane, you get 2 turrets for that one Dragon. At that point, you've gained enough global gold to make up for that 8% AD.
Yeah, if you
now that is a specific scenario, but
yeah, it's all about the circumstance. I was just speaking in generals, and that's like the best we can do.
So I guess moral of the story is try to contest Dragon if you can, because it's pretty damn important. But if you can't, the turret objectives are still important. They're still just like they were before. They open up the map for you. They allow you to move around, and that's not something to just let pass by. A lot of teams are in the old season mentality where in solo queue, even in the LCS game, in the IEM games, let them get Dragons, whatever. Nuh-uh.
Till you start getting the buff number. You start getting the buff like number 2 with pushing power, boost number, and even the movement buff is huge.
Oh, it's
especially with the poke comps. Especially with the poke comps coming out that you were talking about. Once you get that movement speed boost, it's game changing.
Makes poking way easier.
Yeah, exactly, and easier to dodge if you're that team.
Right. So I guess now we can move it over to why is the assassin era coming to an end, and that's because a lot of teams are playing. Or I hope are playing or trying to play. The teams that were successful played Control the Dragon comps. That's what we'll call them. They don't have to be poke comps. They don't have to be all in. They don't have to be engaged. It's Control the Dragon comps. And they warded, specifically, they took the Raptor camp to help them, de-ward specific areas in the map. They, they warded up properly. Whatever it they needed to do. But they controlled the Dragon. Now, I don't think anyone got to 5 buff Dragon this weekend, right?
Oh, one did, I think.
Did they? Like a Unicorns of Love game? I didn't get to watch too much of it, unfortunately.
I remember thinking, wow, that's the first one I've seen. So one of them did, and I didn't watch the UOL versus Cloud9 games.
No, it wasn't during those.
Everything before that I watched though. So
yeah, I watched a majority of it. I need to go back and watch some of the VODs. I was keeping up on the C9 versus Unicorns of Love game, and it just
pretty sure one.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure one team did.
Yeah, Thallium says it was a C9 versus Alliance game.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense because Alliance made me a liar. Do you remember the podcast I was on where I said up until they nerf Baron, the team that gets Baron first will win, and of course the team that I hate the most fucking proves me wrong, and they get the first Baron and they lose.
Damn that Alliance!
But they had a bad team comp. Like Jarvan. We're not. I hate that we're getting into this. We're getting into this weird gray area with the LCS where they also
leave them their material.
To talk about it. So
I'll take it away.
But let's kind of move into that where we're talking about ADCs. Now, when we talk about AD carries, I'm really glad that we have Punch on for this discussion, being that he's played all of them, so he has a better understanding than most of us do. But right now, when I'm talking ADCs, when you hear people say that like Corki is the best ADC, that's what they talk about this weekend. We've said it forever. Corki is great right now because of reasons, but the numbers don't actually back it up. So if you look in solo queue, Jinx is the highest with 53.10% pick rate. Or excuse me, this is win rate. 53.10% win rate. Then it goes Corki, Sivir, Ashe, and Misfortune. With Lucian being even lower than everybody else. And Vayne, like these two awesome AD carries.
Lucian and Vayne would surprise me, but go on.
Yeah. We'll keep going on. And, you know, that's win rate. So Jinx is being the highest, and it's Corki, Sivir, Ashe, Misfortune, and solo queue. But to round out the top 3 AD carries picked in solo queue, it is Lucian, Vayne, and Caitlyn are the top 3 most picked champions in solo queue right now. So with as powerful as Lucian is, and as powerful as like I would even venture to say like Draven and Kalista is, their win rates don't back up that their actual power that they possess. Right.
Well, hell, Kallista's what, the lowest win rate champion right now?
41.57% or something like that. It's 41 something.
Keep in mind, these are a little skewed because, like you said, the lower pick rate champions, they're picked by people, they're not as popular. So the people who pick them probably know what they're doing on them, so the win rate's going to be higher.
According to OP.GG, her win rate's a 39.39%.
Okay. It dropped since this morning. It dropped 2% since this morning, so it was 41 when I looked at it.
Yeah, Kalista, Draven, and Vayne all have the same problem, that they're just really hard to play. And then also, in the instance of Draven and Vayne, solo queue players have the mentality of, okay, I got to carry hardcore. How am I going to do that? I got to pick the most late game carries possible, Draven or Vayne, and they just don't have the skill to play them. So,
right. Yeah, because Draven's got a mini game in and of himself.
Yeah.
And so does Kalista. But well, let's talk about this right now. We see Jinx, we see Corki, we see Sivir, Ashe, and Misfortune as top 5 AD carries. Punch, just give me your thoughts on that. Give me your thoughts in AD carries in the solo queue and AD carries in patch 4.20. I know we talked a lot about Kalista last patch. So let's, stay away from her and talk about what we see.
Ever since Tristana was touched on and Kog'Maw, I've been thinking, or I've been leaning towards Jinx as being my go-to hyper carry now. Probably like the best of the late game AD carries, just because she was strong the last time that she was played, and they haven't touched in a while. So just by the rule of thumb, if Riot doesn't touch her champion in a long time, and they were strong the last time you played them, they're going to be strong now.
They're still strong.
Yeah. And when her alternatives, again, which was Kog'Maw and Tristana, were nerfed, then she's going to come to the forefront. It's the same thing as Corki. Corki was behind Lucian and I guess Tristana. It was Tristana and Lucian were the top for a while, and then Corki was up next. Well, Lucian got nerfed a couple times. Again, Tristana got nerfed, so Corki came to the forefront. But they satisfy different roles. So, again, Jinx, kind of the best in my eyes, late game AD carry. Corki is the strongest mid-game power spike, which is best for solo queue, because most of the games in solo queue are decided by mid-game. Right. That's why, for the longest time, Ezreal was like the strongest solo queue champion. Well, because he had such a strong mid-game power spike.
Because I've noticed playing my solo queue games, I got stuck playing a support a number of times this weekend, and I had really strong lane bullies in Draven and Corki, on my team, and those seemed to win it out as long as you had a support that knew how to engage or when to engage.
Well, typically the mid-game power spike champions also have strong laning phases. Like Lucian, Corki, Ezreal, that holy trinity. They've always been pretty strong at the laning phase. Draven, a good lane bully, and he was really good for a while until they changed his passive so that he just did less damage overall. He just did less damage overall laning phase, so he wasn't like a complete monster. So he's a good lane bully, but right now he can't just plow over people, and so combined with the fact that he's hard to play and the fact that you need to be really good in order to win the lane, and if you don't win the lane, you're only going to come back in late game. You've got this mid-game lull to worry about, like Caitlyn. Well, again, mid-game's just the most important part of solo queue games. So if you're not the strongest at that point, you can lose the game before you get to late.
Yeah, if you juggle his adoration properly and don't die and then get it killed, you can get a nice mid-game spike.
Oh yeah, his passive is still really, really good. It's just harder to get that kill now because he doesn't have his old passive, which gave him damage.
Well, you still have to play. You still have to play the mini game with him. You still have to be CSing with axes, and you still have to be properly CSing and understand how long of cooldown you have. And there's, like I said, there's a mini game of understanding how to play it properly. Now, I'm really excited for the LCS to start back up and Calista to be available right away. I know I said we shouldn't really talk about it, but I really want to see what high skill cap players do with it.
What the highest skill cap plays, because even Diamond has like a 39% win rate with her right now.
Right. It's probably still going to take a long time for her to get really good. She just seems like one of those champions, or by good I mean where people learn how to play her. Right. She just seems like one of those champions where
she'll probably always sit low. Draven's always been low. Even when he was super powerful, he's always been low.
Well, I meant
at the highest level.
Right.
I mean, at the highest level, eventually they're going to figure out. I mean, she's got way too many tools to just sit by the wayside on the bench.
Hey, Punch, question for you. Why do you think Ashe is making a comeback?
I was about to get right there to there. Look at this. Host to Claude.
Before I got to Ashe, I want to talk about Misfortune, but you asked about Ashe, so I'll just kind of flounder on that because I'm kind of confused by it.
Well, Zyra is a really awesome
That's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah. I only know of Daze playing Zyra. Like, I haven't seen a lot of supports play Zyra besides her.
Yeah, me neither.
But assuming she's strong right now, then that goes hand in hand with Ashe making a comeback. Just because the Ashe Zyra is just such a great 1-2 punch.
Well, that and with the Ashe ult, being what it is, that also kind of helps when an enemy team might be trying to do Dragon, or when you're trying to keep an enemy team from doing Dragon. Like, again, she has an incredibly long range AoE stun if she lands it on the right person. Yeah,
and Yasuo and Braum seem to be falling off, and those completely counter Ashe's ult.
Yep.
Yeah, so that opens up Ashe for more games.
She also brings decent poke and good utility with that slow too. So I could see where she's coming back from that perspective. Even though I love playing Ashe, but I'm still always scared if they end up picking somebody who can just instant kill you because you're not getting away if they get on you.
I really should have looked at the supports. I do know that Sona is really high and Janna is really high right now. I didn't look.
Maybe Adam's got something going on here with the Day of the Assassins going down, because the low mobility 80 carries, when assassins are popular, there's no way you want to pick them because you're just going to get melted.
Exactly.
Janna, Blitzcrank, and Sona are currently holding the top 3 support spots.
Now, Sona is someone else that also works really well against Ashe, just because it becomes such a monster poke lane, and when you got both ults in there, you can just, as soon as you hit
can
6,
lock
you
down
just fire everything and kill somebody.
If one person lands their stun, the next person can immediately follow up, and they're stunned until they're dead.
Yep.
Yeah, you point blank the arrow, whatever it takes.
Now, what was it? Misfortune was number 5?
Correct.
Yes.
You got on her.
Misfortune has always...
See these?
I don't know if she's always had a high win rate, but Misfortune in my mind had always been a niche pick where you're going to pick her with a wombo combo in mind. And in solo queue, if you're going in with a team comp, which is better than most solo queue games, then you have a better chance of winning that game. That's always been my opinion on Misfortune. Is her ult is really powerful, and I'm surprised I don't see it more often actually, but. If you got a wombo comp going, that's the person to pick, and you're gonna have a really good, strong team fight. That's gonna win you solo games.
Well, so to go off of Chira's point from earlier, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of those immobile AD carries because of the assassin meta dying out.
They have less to worry about.
Well, like I said, Zed, Fizz, and Akali are all being banned. So what do you have to worry about? Who's going to jump on you out of the mid lane at that point? So if you can lock a team down before anything happens, you win the game. Or if you can lock a team down, even a Mumu is a really good jungler right now. People don't give a Mumu enough credit. I think Curse of the Sad Bullet Time is something that you could definitely play as a 2-man team in solo queue.
Sure.
Win the game.
Well, with
not that it was picked before, but Executioner's Calling is gone, so MF applies Grievous Wounds.
Rip. Well, now that mid laners get Namicon.
Well, and if you look at it too with the immobile characters, it isn't just like banning out Fizz, Zed, and Akali. Like, if those 3 are banned, that's huge because those are 3 of the most powerful instant gap closer assassins. I mean, there's other assassins that, like so Syndra, for example, she could kind of be considered an assassin because she's just going to blow you up if she gets enough balls down and ults you, but she still has to like move to get to you. If those three are gone, it just ramps up the ability for the immobile AD carries to continue to do what they've always done. And a lot of those immobile AD carries make up for what they don't have in mobility with utility.
Well, not to mention, also, we have the supports that are really coming back. Janna,
Yep.
Sona, and Zyra being like, I would say, in my opinion, top 3 supports, and Nami even ranking up there.
Anti-assassin.
Could be edging into there because they're all anti-assassin,
Right.
as well as they're anti, engage. They're totally anti-engage.
And they're also strong
Talon's
pokes
still out
for
there,
those.
folks. Talon's
Yeah, I was
still
thinking about
out there.
Talon too.
But Talon doesn't have
be
the
wary
silence
of that
anymore. That's
bad boy.
It makes him harder to get out of lane.
Still, he's got the instant gap closer and a ton of burst.
And he still is the 7th highest win rate.
Oh no, yeah, Talon. Well, people
So-
like Talon, Fiora, definitely really good. It's interesting to see that if you're looking at here on the stats, that Heimerdinger has the fifth highest win rate at 53.54%.
Before we move off of AD carries, I wanted to mention that I think AD carries as a whole are in a very good spot right now, meaning that I think it's well balanced. I think a lot of them are very viable picks.
Oh yeah,
and I don't.
There's no holy trinity.
that is
Yeah, after Corki, it's like pick whoever you want because they're all really good right now.
I'm really encouraged to see Ashe go from noob, you picked Ashe, to okay, you picked Ashe.
Oh, you picked
All right,
Ashe. We're
let's make
going to
that.
win a team
I've
fight.
always- yeah, and she has a good kit. It's just now she can use it.
Ashe has always been. I think Ashe has almost always been viable. Maybe
Yeah,
not
that's what I thought.
LCS level.
Well, then-
I would say all through season 4 she's been viable. It's just what is being picked on the enemy team that would stop the viability of this champion. And
Right.
usually
Assassin.
it's one of the top 3 assassins made it through. Now if those assassins don't make it through picker bans, why
Well,
not?
it's also
pick
one of those
Ashe?
things too. The people who are at the highest level are playing assassins at a much different skill level than all the people below them. So they can make plays that you wouldn't even dream of being able to do yourself, and that just instantly fucks anybody at the highest level who wants to play those champions.
I always forget where my Zed clones are at, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, again, you could say that, Ashe or Misfortune or whatever could work, bronze, silver, gold, anything like that. Because you're not going to see that Bjergsen level LeBlanc just zip around the map and kill an AD carry immediately unless, like, that person's mechanical skills are just way better than the division in which they're currently in. And they
Even
wouldn't be in
some
that
power people
division if
killing
they
Yeah, I was gonna say you mean Power of Evil, right?
yeah.
Bjergsen LeBlanc. Who's Bjergsen? I don't even know who that guy is.
Well,
Sorry.
well, if we're going down the line, we touched on supports. I wish Daze was here because she could really tell us what support
in
she's
chat.
seeing in solo queue. Yeah, she is in chat, but I'm not going to wait for it. Sorry, Daze.
Yeah.
Love you, but I'm not
The delay.
I'm not waiting for the 30-second response. Well, let's talk about top laners and junglers that are really popular. We'll talk about junglers first, and then go in the top laners because really top and jungle are kind of interchangeable. But we're seeing a lot of the carry junglers at this point. Am I not wrong, Chira?
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing...
Lee Sin still.
Yeah, at least you can just
Always
look and
there.
see what Meteos did during the IEM. He lit
Won't
it
that
up.
guy
as
ever
this-
go away? Sick of that guy.
Yeah. No, it
No, he can
I
kill
know,
as an
right?
assassin. Or as a we're on the assassins.
It's funny-
Lee Sin, fuck that guy.
It's funny because I was kind of like anti Lee Sin when all this the new jungling thing came out because a lot of people were just really, I think the jungle changes just sort of scared or like the people weren't used to playing Lee Sin in a certain way, and I've seen a bunch of Lee Sins actually die early in the jungle. But then again, you see somebody who's playing that champion at the highest level again, and he's just laying the smackdown like
Right.
it. Like, why the hell did you let that champion through?
Yeah, but even in platinum solo queue, I've played against Lee Sins that have no idea that they try to they try to do the ward jump and the kick,
Yep.
and like it doesn't happen. Like they don't have the reactions and the
They don't
time
have
is
the
too
ping
much.
for it too. Ping's a big factor in that.
Oh, ping's a huge factor
You need
on
to have- you need to have a
all those
California ping to do it.
super high skill cap champions. Ping is the make or break on whether you can do
You
some
know
of the
what
more
I've been
fancy
seeing
plays.
a lot in top lane is Riven. I see so much.
Yeah,
Riven
I've been
now.
playing Riven.
Have you been playing Riven?
I have.
Not that
I've always
different from an
liked
ADC.
Riven. I'm just not. Yeah. She really is. I mean, she's a total glass
She's an-
cannon.
yeah.
I saw her. I saw her last night in a game where I was Scion, but I did the red buff steel cheese, so I had a level 2 boost on her and the buff. So I dominated her in lane. But then, her team went out later. But still, I have seen a lot of Riven. Junglers, I wanted to mention
Fiddlesticks made a huge comeback.
Jarvan, J4.
Yeah, Jarvan.
Yep, Jarvan's big right
He
now.
seems to be the go-to as far as the pros go, because of the Narvin combo, I guess. But
That would be a
even
reason to keep
without-
picking Void Disease.
Well, and it's just one of those things like Jarvan's been good for a really long time as well. I mean, even last season we saw him played a decent amount, and then they haven't changed anything, so he's kind of back in the spotlight with the jungle changes and having that character that, the first hit he's doing percentage damage, health damage. That's awesome.
And
then,
you know what?
his abilities are scaling up in stats with him with his E, so he's getting more armor, and it's easier for him to like survive the early jungle as compared to like certain other champions. So
Well, I want to go back with this conversation. Sorry, I mean, you're right. The Jarvan thing is totally right. We're there, but I want to say that a lot of people are playing jungle improperly. I don't play jungle, but I'm talking to everybody. I've talked to Chira, I've talked to Wrecker about it, and for example, I sent you the Nautilus stuff, how to make Nautilus better, and then I watched Wrecker play it. Wrecker didn't even try to do any of that Nautilus stuff, and still walked out of the jungle with a lot of health and doing it properly. And it's because I think too many people are still stuck in the idea with jungle and how jungle champions should be played that they are not paying attention to what they're doing. They're not smiting properly. They're not using their shields, in between auto attacks. Kind of like the Pantheon taking the dragon thing. You have to watch what the dragons
to reset
do
the auto attacks
to work.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are like, this is how you band-aid it, because they're trying to band-aid the lack of skill with items. And while that can work and that's great, why wouldn't you make yourself better at this game by actually paying attention to what you're doing and paying attention to how you're fighting a creep? And with that said, that makes champions better. Like Lee Sin, in my opinion, isn't a good jungler, but he is when you're paying attention to how to use his passive properly.
And even if you go and look at like the Nautilus stuff, the whole premise behind the Nautilus thing isn't. And I know like a lot of people are against Trick 2G and just the whole like solo queue mentality playstyle, like I'm going to carry the game or whatever. Nautilus doesn't fall into that role of, hey, I'm Nautilus, I'm going to solo carry the game on my own, because he enables the rest of the team to win. However, the build that was linked on Reddit with the Nautilus like support stuff is almost the exact same thing as Trick 2G's like support Udyr page. So like if you go and you look at it like that, the whole premise behind that is, hey, you have the mana to be able to continue to use abilities. You have the move speed to be able to get to places when you need it, and you have the extra experience from jungling early, so you can get a slight edge ahead, and then you can continue to snowball that experience lead, because a lot of like Nautilus, his clear, it gets much better once you have your level 2W.
Right.
Like that's just how it is. That shield helps. If you use the right runes on him, hence like the health quints, health seals, whatever you want. For that, and attack speed, you're getting off more of his passive hits while you're getting more of a shield, because the more health you have, the more shield you have. So there's a really long thought out process between people who are choosing to do something like that, and the support masteries are great because between the increased mana and I guess since you kind of have like a health potion ticking while you're doing the jungle camps now, the extra mana that you get from the support, like the utility masteries, really increases your ability to use your abilities throughout the jungle, making
Instead
it
of
much
having
easier
to
to
hold them
clear.
strategically.
Yeah, but that's specifically talking about Udyr. That's not talking about someone like Nautilus or any
That
other
is Nautilus.
crazy
Like
That is,
champion.
you get
and Sejuani too.
But you don't need those masteries. I mean, I get the premise behind it, and yeah, they absolutely
They make
work.
it better,
I'm not
a lot
discrediting
better.
it.
They make it they make a huge difference, because if you can get a level 3 off like a camp earlier, that increases your clear time by like it snowballs you ahead just that little bit to be able to make you like clear faster and get that little edge going, especially when you go back and buy Ranger's Trailblazer.
I was going to say, keep in mind, it seems to be, at least with the higher level play, the bottom lane is back to taking the Gromp or the Krugs.
We
I wanna
forgot
bring
to
that
talk
up.
about that.
Yep.
We need to talk about the
Right.
Kromps and Krugs and
So
everything.
you got to give that up as a jungler and work that into your
Well,
rotation.
they're even giving it to the top laner at this point.
Yep.
They'll give Krugs to the top laner.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I guess
Now, when
go
they get
ahead.
that-
I want someone needs to talk about
I wasn't
that. Like, what's
I wasn't
the
able to watch.
strategies?
I wasn't able to watch a lot of the IEM stuff, but was the jungler and the top laner in that case like sharing the experience from that, or was the top laner just killing it on his own?
top on his own.
Okay,
Top
that's
on
cool.
his
So
own.
here's how this works right now. If we're talking specifically top lane, if you can start Krugs, the top laner takes both, or I think it takes the big one, and takes both or the big one, right? The jungler helps, but allows the top laner to take it. Top laner goes to lane, gets level 2 faster, wins
way
top lane
ahead
because
yep.
of that. Now bottom lane, depending on what side they're on, they're either taking Krugs or Grump, or the Toad, whatever you want to call it, because the support is not taking that extra ward in the beginning. They are taking extra health potions, and they're tanking it the entire time, spamming their health potions, and that allows both of them to get to lane, level 2 very quickly,
right?
Because of that. And when you have somebody like Nunu jungling, the reason Nunu is so powerful is because he can smite, consume, give the top laner the buff like right away, and then go and then consume and get the red buff.
Well, hell, even if he was to smite Krugs and take the passive from it, he used that smite and he'll still have his Q smite to go and kill something later on.
Yeah, but the whole point of Nunu is you don't take it. Well, yeah. Oh, you don't kill Krug. Well, you
no, you don't have to kill it because if you smote it, if you smote it, you still get the buff and you don't have to kill it. You can give it up.
Right.
So,
but I see a lot of people still at this point. Sorry, Punch. I'll throw this out there and let you go.
Go ahead.
I see too many people. In my opinion, too many people starting with buffs. Like, I understand how powerful they are, but I think starting Krub or Grumps or Krugs is more powerful than starting
especially
a buff.
if your laner doesn't take that, you will hit level 2 if you just go and kill Krugs.
You'll also hit level 2 if you kill blue.
Yes, you will.
So, and you know what? I've taken, if I'm starting red side, if I do the Pantheon level 2 dragon, I'll kill blue first. Otherwise, I have to get 1 health, 1 mana pot, so I have enough mana to do the jump. So it depends what you're going to do, but I like what Shira said last time we talked about Jungle 4.2. Once you have 350 gold, you might as well just go back, regardless of where you're at. Unlike before, where you want to kind of stay, go back and get your Trailblazer, and you will just
it's 3 camps
skyrocket. It's especially if you're a slow clear speed jungler. Why the hell wouldn't you go buy an item that's going to let you clear way faster, and instead you're going to struggle through the jungle? Like, I love counter ganking somebody who's a slow clear jungler who doesn't go back early to get that, because if they're still in their jungle when I show up, they're dead. That's it. Like, they're either blowing flash or I'm killing them.
Do you think the utility mastery for recall is actually a good pick now for jungler? Because
I don't use it. I don't use it personally. I could see why it would be better because you're saving 2 seconds early. I don't know. I'm kind of in love with the support utilities right now, especially on the attack speed junglers, just because I don't know, it's on mana intensive attack speed junglers in particular, because it's one of those things. If you get the first blue buff, you don't need the second one because you have almost all the mana regen you need, and you don't need to worry about getting boots too early because you have the move speed from the utility masteries. So now, I don't know, just food for thought.
Punch, do you remember what you were going to say a moment ago? I know
I just had a few things to point out about bot lane, starting with the bot jungle camps. The first one being that, isn't it funny that as soon as Riot changes the jungle again, and we get to our first major tournament that everyone's viewing, bot lanes are already going back to killing those bot lane camps, those bot jungle camps, and now purple side actually has a camp they can take, so they're even when they get to lane.
Right.
Second thing I wanted to point out was, and this is for everybody listening, jungler in the jungler in all of those games just always starting the top of their jungle and letting the bot lane take those camps. Just because if one side of the bot lane didn't get their respective jungle camp, they are at a huge disadvantage experience-wise. Well, now, Riot alleviated that a bit when they added scaling levels, but that second ability is still hugely important. And the last thing I wanted to point out was, and Jat mentioned this on the cast, that a lot of people are letting the AD carry take the experience from the jungle camps, so they get to level 2 immediately, and the support was to stay at level 1. But Jat pointed out that in these games, the pros were letting the support and the AD carry get the experience, so they hit level 2 at the same time, and I think that's important. I think that's better.
That's way better.
Oh yeah,
if you have two people,
it's more important for the support. Yeah, I think it's more important for the support to get level 2 because they have the abilities to self the kill.
They're about the ability use. Yep.
I was about to say the same thing. If I have any support in my lane, I'd rather my support hit level 2 before I do, for the most part, because they bring so much more utility when they do. Like Nami, for example. You know, you have bubble slow or you have bubble poke, whatever it is. You said you have bubble whatever. Depending on what you start with.
Let the carry get the gold and the support share the experience. That
seems to be the so you both get experience.
Yeah. From a jungling standpoint too, like the early clear, you don't necessarily go from one end of the jungle all the way to the other end of the jungle, like full clearing the jungle. You'll end up doing what we've been talking about and eventually like going back to get If you're playing a character that gets a huge benefit out of going back to get that upgraded smite, that's what you'll end up doing. So it doesn't really hurt your money
Jungler.
generation. It doesn't hurt your jungle like time.
Right.
If those people are taking it, because by the time you get to that other side, it's going to be up again regardless.
Think about it this way. It's also this, I don't know if Riot planned it or not, but there's strategic diversity. And we saw it in the IEM where the bot lane blue side, the jungler and the bot and support went to the enemy Gromp, where the support was hurt trying to tank it, and their jungler was way top, just like we were talking about. And they totally scared him off of there, took the Gromp, and then they proxied them off their turret. Well, actually, it was I forget what it was, but they did a good job with that, and you got to watch out for that too. So you got to worry about this could happen. You know, sure, this is the norm now, and it's the best case scenario. Bot lane gets that level boost, jungler's still doing the jungle, but there's counterplay to it. So you got to stay on your toes.
This is why I like the starts that people are starting. Most people are starting, I guess, blue side is Gromp, red side is double golems or Krugs up in the top lane. It's Kromps, sorry.
Krumps. No, it is the Krugs.
It is
Krugs.
Yeah, whatever. I knew it was Krugs, but just to continue my point as fast as I can, which obviously isn't going to happen. You're starting top lane side. You're making top lane help you because it's not. While it is a big deal that top lane gets level 2 before the other, top laners have a better chance of playing back, and getting that spike at the same time. Like, if you don't know anything about top lane. If the enemy top laner pushes and gets level 2 before you and zones you out of 3 CS, big fucking deal. Let them do it. It's not the same thing in bottom lane where you have 2 people that are losing experience and whatnot. So bottom lane is, in my opinion, bottom lane level 2 is more important than top lane level 2. So you need to give your bottom lane love. Because there's 2 people down there that can get fucked up. You get screwed up and give gold, and you're feeding 2 rather than 1.
Bottom lane is more important than top lane, period, because of the new dragon, especially. But
damn right it is.
Yeah, so if you're out there playing solo queue, give your bottom lane love. If the bottom lane says, like the other day I said, hey, Draven, do you want to do this? He's like, well, I don't know where our fiddle's starting. Our fiddle started red for some reason.
What?
Fiddlestick started, yeah. Like, we're like, all right. Well, I said, well, we can't do Krugs because he needs help. He's going to take too long to kill it. So we helped him. Whatever. It worked out fine. But, things like that. Like, why are you starting these silly buffs? Give your bottom lane love. Let your bottom lane take and get. And love your support. Stays in chat. Love your supports.
Yep. And you see a big difference for the side that doesn't do that. Boom, you hit your level 2 spike, just like in last season. You try to push the lane a little bit to get level 2 spike. Now you don't need to do that. Now you've gotten the Krumps, and you get your experience right there. Yeah, that way I cover both Gromp and Krugs. Yeah, and you already have that advantage over them. And then let's say you're Leona, which isn't that popular right now for some reason, but the Leona level 2, insane. That's the go button. That's okay, here we go. All of a sudden they're surprised. How'd they hit level 2 off of killing 3 melee minions or whatever it is that you need after killing the Krumps?
I wanted to give you props to Claude, just real quick before we move on to the next point. The press W, walk toward the enemy.
Oh, yeah.
I was playing against a Blitzcrank as Leona. I just pressed W and walked at Blitzcrank. Pull me! Let's go. It was fun.
Ah!
Blitzcrank kind of runs away, like, I don't know what to do.
You do that to counter engage champs like Jaina too. You hit W and you start running, and then she'll throw her Tempest, and then use Zenith afterwards. So.
There you go. But I thought it was funny. Give you props, people who don't listen to that. It's a very nice strategy. So,
mind games.
Top laners, we can quickly touch on. We don't need to spend 10 minutes of top laners, but I think top lane right now is kind of like in an imbalance where it's what counters what when who picks what champion. Because Rumble's super powerful because of his equalizer, teleport equalizer, but Lissandra is equally as powerful because she counters Rumble and
she's making a big comeback.
Has a giant engage. A lot of that though, with Lissandra, is because of the mana regeneration changes. Having more mana regeneration early is allowing her to stay up there and stay poking down champions.
Well, especially between the mana regeneration and her passive, you can get way more abilities off and not feel punished for doing so.
Yeah, well, the big problem with casters, I was going to say the big problem with casters in the top lane a lot of the time was they couldn't get that blue buff because that normally went to the mid lane. So now, if they don't really need that blue buff to stay at max mana,
might as well.
The world is yours, top laners.
Yeah, have fun with it. That's why Xerath is a big comeback in mid lane because he doesn't need blue buffs either. Because your passive gives you free mana. Plus, you get a ton of mana regeneration from Namicon on top of that. So you don't need anything.
Gnar is huge in the pro scene.
Yeah, Gnar.
And because you're seeing it a lot in solo queue and seeing it fail because he's harder to play.
I've been playing Gnar, and I agree that I can see the power of Gnar. I get it. Like, I've played it. I've seen how awesome he can be. Yeah, Mega Gnar. Mega Gnar is insane. Like, he does tons of damage.
That's what the scaling is. It's better than everybody else as far as tanks.
But I have no patience to play Gnar. Like, go for it. You want to play Gnar? I have zero patience to play Gnar because I'm like, oh, I've got my passive. Here I cut. Oh, too early.
Chad is talking about Quinn, so I want to hear your thoughts on Quinn because I have long thought about picking her up as a fledgling top laner who mains ADC. Like, I could play Quinn top lane.
Okay, yeah.
But I never have yet.
I really like Quinn. I think Quinn is an awesome champion. Like, I want it's kind of like, you know how I would play Xin Zhao in the top lane or Azir. We'll just go with Azir because he's, it's just like the most recent one. Like, I'd play Azir at any chance I could get to play him. Like, give me Azir. Like, Quinn is really there, but she's much more of a troll pick at this point. I'll use air quotes.
She's considered.
Are you crushing my dreams?
No, I'm saying troll because people think she's troll.
Her perception is a troll pick.
But with the power of 80, with the power that she has in lane and the control she has over lane and the top lane and her ability to split push and get out of danger, I think she's great if you have a team to play around her and you have somebody that understands how to play with an extra 80 carry in your game. Now, it's not going to be the same strategy as you're playing with the quick tower push strategy, or you're going to have like that AP mid kind of Corki or that, mixed damage Corki. Quinn is going to be a split pusher and a pure split pusher. She's not a team fighter. But she does have a lot of dragon control because she has blind, she has percentage of life damage, and she also has the ability to get the dragon really, really, really quickly with her ultimate. So I like Gwen in the top lane. Do I think she's ever going to be picked and played and all that stuff? No, because she has her faults because she's an 80 carry. And if you don't have that extra front line, it kind of sucks. But
yeah, I mean, Quinn even in the bot lane, Quinn is a monster. She is a great laner. The problem always has been, what does she do during team fights?
Yes.
Like, she's not great at the traditional marksman role in team fights of just standing back and auto-attacking people because she can't take advantage of her ult. Yeah. I mean, she can't pick people off with her ult, and that's kind of what her ult is used for besides chasing people or running away, is to pick people off.
It's more of an assassinate.
Well, that's the big thing
that anything else.
Dom and I have had extensive conversations about how awesome we think Quinn is. Like, her entire kit is fucking amazing until you get to her ultimate, that it sucks dick.
Yep.
They made her that odd blend, assassin ADC blend, like squishy. What are you going to do? You're great for picking people off. And I think your place that you're talking about with split pushing is her home.
Yeah,
that's where she belongs.
Has to split push.
Well, her 1v1 power is so hard.
Well, if she's in lane, she has to get an early kill pretty much to do anything. Because she gets that early kill, and that gives her that item and allows her to continue to snowball. Like, she has to have a kill 1 to 6. Well, she doesn't have to. It really helps to get a kill 1 to 6.
Well, even once you hit 6 as Quinn, I mean, you could pretty much get a kill on them immediately, assuming they are in their tower.
You're looking for an initiator. You're looking for an initiator out of the top lane, and an initiator she is not.
Point.
Yep, good point.
So that's why
I still think, I'm on the Rumble train right now. Obviously, been playing them a lot. A good equalizer does exactly what the name of the ability is.
Yeah, and with Dragon being so popular,
that's
Rumble
exactly
is the best for Dragon control.
Right. That is exactly what I was going to say. Rumble's the king of winning that Dragon engage. So
it's funny. He always has been. Always has been, because and I keep saying equalizer does exactly what a name reads. It equalizes the playing field, so that's why it's funny it's coming back, but it's because the Renekton bar is no longer existing. Right. Rise got nerfed to the ground, and then we have a mana regeneration change that allows more APs to make it into the top.
It's also that thing that you see again, champions that succeeded like crazy at that role get some tweaking that is on the downswing, and the person who hasn't been messed with that much and
suddenly
buffed a little bit is right back in the picture. So
stealth buffed.
Now, see, I understand why Lulu is no longer in favor because she had some tweaks to her kit in the last couple of patches, but with the mana regeneration changes, I feel like that makes up for the changes, the damage reduction she's had over the last, her change. And I think her Glitter Lance, if I remember correctly, had a damage change because you can spam it a little more. You get a couple more Glitter Lances off, but still, she's still a lane bully. I don't care how you paint the picture. She's still a lane bully. She's still going to do damage. She's still going to push Lysandra out. She's going to push Rumble out. Jace can go on the top lane as well. Like, there's all these weird champions.
They tried to define her back into the support role with the changes they had for her. And take her out of the solo roles. So I don't know.
A lot of the supports I've talked to just really don't like Lulu in the support role right now, except for Chira. Chira plays a manly Lulu support.
That's true.
Besides him,
I hate playing against a Lulu. I do, because if you have that comp where you don't have a tank, Lulu, it turns anybody into a tank pretty much for the initiate, for what you need them
my
for.
Point with this is that, even with reduction to slow, reduction to damage, whatever, I apologize. I don't remember exactly the nerf off the top of my head. I just know that she has been falling out of favor quite a bit. I never played her, but I kind of feel like she can still be that big lane bully. She can still jump in the lane, and if you build the correct comp around her, that full-in Jarvan engage comp when you can't get Gnar still works with Lulu, especially in solo queue. Like, I don't care what nerfs people had in solo queue. If you're good at the champion, play the fucking champion.
I think she's still powerful. I don't know about the solo lane, but just for team fight synergy.
And it might be one of those things. It might be one of those things too, with people looking at the perceived nerf to where they're just not going to pick her up because
people need to go back with the change in mana regeneration and try.
Well, and here's what I'm going to say. This is back to the experimentation phase. Like, the game is in such a state above, like, just craziness at the moment. There's no reason not to go and mess around with champs like that. Yeah, TF jungle worked. If anybody before last weekend would have told me that would have worked, I would have told you that you're probably high and that isn't going to do anything.
It's the way he played it. He did the juggling of the monster camps, so they never hit him.
So, hey, if you're playing a solo queue game and you're on my team, please don't pick.
Don't do that.
TF.
You're the bane of your team.
Practice it in customs, and then become really good at it, and then try it if you want. But
shuffle your deck and pick a new champion, please.
Oh, thanks, Claude Jr.
You're such a card.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on.
But top lane champions. I was mentioning Jace through that. I think Jace is a good top lane champion to pick if he can't find place in the mid lane. I still think Jarvan has a place outside of the jungle. Yeah, he's super powerful there. I still think you should pick him in the top lane and even top turn at this point with base mana regeneration changes.
No, enough with the top turn.
I am all about top turn right now. Like, I'm going to start playing. Sundays with Potophobia this week will involve top turn.
I just can't get past the fact that you've got your ult, and now you're limiting it to the top lane.
You're limiting it to only being usable in tech.
That's fine. But I do so much damage with it. It's like an instant.
God. Against who?
But you know what?
My top lane.
Hold on. With the new Smite 'em and Devourer's Enchant, you got to play Nocturne out of the jungle.
He is.
We saw me play him the other day. I killed everybody.
Oh yeah, and I was singing his praises from what I've seen from enemies and allies playing Nocturne, and he's just insane. He's up there with Warwick in my opinion. As far as
he is really good. I don't right now on the top lane. I don't like Maokai anymore on the top lane because I don't feel like he brings that presence that he brought.
Which is really interesting after IEM. Because you saw a lot of Maokai in the top lane, which intrigued me because I agreed with you. I thought he was done, but then Balls was becoming an unkillable juggernaut, and
just like always, maybe I was wrong. And he makes his team unkillable for team fights. So solo queue, I'm not sure, but in team matches, and even solo queue, you just turn on your ult and you stay with your team.
I always feel like it's too much at this point. No matter what it is, this game, I feel like it's too much.
What do you not like about him? Is solo laning phase or
no? Solo laning phase is amazing. I think most people play Rumble wrong in the solo laning phase. He's a giant fucking lane bully. I'm really or Maokai. Sorry, I kept saying whatever I said.
They're both huge. It's cool.
No, Maokai. What really pisses me off is I listened to IEM this week and I listened to like Monte Cristo and stuff, and I know he listens to this podcast. I'm gonna look you right in the eye, Monty. You're wrong about Maokai in the laning phase. That. Maokai is a giant lane bully. If you're playing Maokai and you're not being a lane bully, you're playing him incorrectly. You're playing him the wrong matches, you're playing the wrong runes, you're playing him
talking about Aurelia against him or something?
You're doing something. Well, Aurelia is a different story. Like Aurelia just sustains and it fucks you up, right?
Yeah.
But most matchups, he could be a giant lane bully. Even against somebody like Rumble, he can be. You just have to pick and choose your battles and use creep aggro. This is not for ranked play, but Rammus in the top lane. I know I haven't played him once, but I have been looking into him a while. If you know how to juggle creep aggro of any of those type of champions, they become a giant lane bully. Now, not to say he's good in all situations, but things like that, when you understand how a lane works, you can make a champion work because of that reason. And the same thing goes with Maokai.
You made me happy by bringing up the way I like to play Maokai in the top lane and punish other people for using abilities on me because I can heal through it. And then you go into Rammus top's gonna work, guys.
Please no Rammus.
Build him full AD.
I was bringing Rammus top
Rammus
because
top is good.
I
Full
really
AP.
do think Rammus top is good. I know you guys think I'm
until-
trolling you because of the one game.
You
I
did troll
really
us.
do
It was-
think
it was
Rammus
great.
top is amazing.
It was
It's
great
scary.
until the 36th minute part.
You know,
Okay,
you just,
before we move
we
off
all
of-
fucked around in that game. Whatever.
I wanted to,
TF jungle sucks, and then it kicks ass.
Yeah,
Rammus
that's
top,
true.
same idea.
I wanted to ask about Maokai versus Lissandra. Assuming Lissandra gets more play in the top lane, I feel like Maokai would be a good counter to her, because couldn't he just build tanky, and then, with his passive, the amount of spells that Lissandra casts, he could just stay in top lane all day, could he not?
You know what's
I
funny
think so.
about the Maokai talk? I'm on both sides of the fences where I think he's a giant lane bully, but I also think he sucks quite a bit.
God.
Like, in certain matchups, he's really good. In certain matchups, he's really bad. The reason I think he's bad with Lissandra is because you can't build a Rod of Ages. I think on Maokai, you have to have that Rod of Ages. Like, you have to have it. It just brings so much more damage in that mid game. It's extra 10, 15 damage. You saw Wicked play him. Wicked had the Catalyst and then went into Warden's Mail, then went into Locket. Like, what are you fucking building, dude? What do you plan to do for your team? You're just an annoyance. Like,
But then he
you're not
became the
doing
hero
damage.
later on in the game,
They
once he
lost that
finally
game.
built everything.
They lost that game.
Oh, because
No.
he was building weird in the game that they were losing, and then all of a sudden
He did.
became the
won
hero, and they won.
He won a comeback game after he got stomped, and he came back with a ton of aura items and basically saved the day.
Well, you know, whatever it was, like, I don't know. I figure out, like, maybe I'm playing Maokai differently than most people play MR, where you like to support. But I feel like you need that Rod of Ages because it brings that little extra damage to the game, and it continues to make you tanky over the course of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I
if you
agree
can't get that item, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I agree that it does seem very important to get that, because as a tank, you want to do some damage, because if you don't do any damage and you have limited CC, people are just going to ignore you as a tank. Like, you need to be a threat, right? Otherwise, what are they going to... Oh, it's the zero damage Maokai. Oh no, I'm just going to ignore him and attack
That's how
them.
I
Switch
feel.
points.
Like, oh, he's in our team. Oh no, what's he doing? Stop hitting me. It hurts. You know, like, come on.
Well, if you eat that Lucian ult in its entirety, you know,
Sure.
if you go up there and be that big shield, you know, back to my Brahmani.
Your
But
giant,
since
that bark shield.
we were we were talking about the casters, and you're calling out Monty. Chi-Chi, you got anything to say to Jat?
Oh, what about the Elise thing? I make
He
Elise
said
work.
Elise was terrible.
No, and my comment was, yeah, Elise is terrible when Shook plays him because Shook is not good at Elise.
Well, yeah, no, he's not.
No,
but to Jet's favor, Jet did say during the cast that the Elise players that have played thousands of games of Elise or whatever it is do make her work and make her work really well.
I mean, I like Elise, but it was one of those things where, and this was the other day when I was talking about the Devour thing. I don't think it's a fact that an item like that could ever work on her. It's the thing that I have way more games played on that champion than almost probably anybody I'm playing against has on the champion that they're playing at the time, especially if they don't play that one often. So it's not whether or not the items I'm building are correct. I have way more experience, so I can do some things that people aren't expecting, or that people didn't know I could do, or I know when to do certain abilities.
Well, why do you think top Rammus works with a lot of people? Because
Right.
you understand how to
What if
balance
you're playing-
and juggle the lane.
What if you're playing against an equally skilled Lee Sin, for example? Someone who plays Lee Sin like you play Elise. How do you think you would fare in that matchup?
I'm
I think
afraid
it
of Lee
depends-
Sin after last weekend.
You know what? To answer that question, and I'm not Chira, obviously, but
Right.
I answer that question. It's how skilled is my team? How skilled is the enemy team?
What can they do
Because you're not
around your
dueling
pick
that
as well?
jungler,
Yeah.
right? It's how you're playing your jungle and ganking the lanes.
Right.
So it can
Well,
be
it's-
scary. Absolutely. I mean, hell, you both can walk on a lane 5-0. You know,
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. I
Elise
mean,
just has such a good kit for ganking. I didn't agree with Chad. I heard that. I was like, what?
It's
You
also
know?
one of those things. She's still one of the few junglers who can gank still at level 3. Like that. I feel like that's something that
Right.
isn't. And it's
you
not that
need
Elise
to-
is overly strong or anything like that. She's still one of those champions that, even with the jungle changes, if you have the Spiderlings tank stuff, you can still go in at level 3 and kind of do what
Yeah.
you used to do. So she's not limited by
got
the
decent health
craziness
coming
of the new jungle.
Now, if you look at somebody like Xin Zhao, for example,
Oh,
we'll compare Xin
God.
Zhao and Elise here for a
Fucking
moment, and trust me, it's going somewhere. Xin Zhao has
now.
one of the best level 2 ganks in the entire game.
Right.
If you don't have flash up, you're dead.
Right.
Right.
If you don't have
sorry,
some sort of
contract,
like
yeah.
movement to get away from it, you're done.
But the difference between that is the reason you pick Elise over Xin Zhao, in my opinion, is because Xin Zhao is all or nothing. Elise is not. Elise isn't all or nothing. Elise is all,
Yep.
and then
Get
I
out
can
of jail
maybe have a
free
chance
card
to
if
get
you
out.
need to.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's the, oh, I went in, you blue flashed, I might be able to still get to you, or the enemy jungler shows up, I can get away from you. It's not one of those things, oh, I go in, if I blue flash to make that extra distance up, I'm dead as in Zhao, or if somebody else shows up, fuck, I've used my E and now I'm stuck in a bad spot, and unless I blood flash, I'm not getting out.
Right.
Like,
Should I use my cocoon or should I use my repel cocoon? You know,
Yep.
You
Yep.
got backup options.
do I need to blow flash? Not if I'm standing next to a wraith camp, you know.
Right. See, that's why I think we'll go back to Lulu for a second here. Well, there's something Dom that brought up, so I'll just repeat what he said, is that Lulu is one of the best champions for, like, well, not for support, but as a support player to play Lulu, whether she's good or not right now, is because she makes you make a ton of snap-second decisions, and that makes you a better player because of it. Do I polymorph? Do I shield? Do I slow? Do I speed somebody up? Do I ultimate this person? Do I drop a ward here? You have to make like 6 or 7 options within seconds. And that's why if you might think that Lulu's not a great support because of reasons, but I think picking up Lulu, if you really want to work in your snap decision making, kind of like Elise, do I jump up here? Do I cocoon here? Whatever it is.
Just don't be
make you a better
discouraged.
player.
She has a duality in her abilities, and you can't just keep using the same thing every time. I agree with you on that. You play her, you practice her, you will get better at making those decisions. But
And again,
you might not like her. You might get discouraged if you start failing.
Again, for the champion like Lee, she is still kind of a high school cap champion just because her kit's so crazy. I know there's, I have a buddy who's just starting to pick her up and had no idea how to do some stuff, and he got really punished for it. But
right,
you gotta really understand when you have 8 abilities, that's a lot more to deal with than when you have 4, 5, whatever.
Well, let's point out it real quick because people are going to ask, why is Vi super powerful? I see you talking about it in chat.
Okay, so, and I haven't gotten the chance to play it, but I've seen her still be able to do stuff, and this is more of something that was coming from Days, who was saying that the reason Vi is an issue right now is that the way she's currently building, whether that be get the Devour and then go tanky after that, or get the Devour and get a T-Force and go tanky, or,
well,
whatever.
You're busting armor and having a shield.
Not only that, you have the shield to help you in the jungle, but eventually, as long as you're doing things right, she's one of those few damaged junglers that can still build tanky and do damage. So she's sort of too tanky to like kill instantly, but she does enough damage where you can't ignore her. Right. And that's exactly that's what Days told me. So I still have to play her a bit too, but I do see her as being probably pretty strong right now, especially, again, it's one of those things, if we're seeing different picks out of top lane, you pick Vi and you always have that strong level 6 engage. So
as always, she's viable. Always.
And with the return of some of these more stationary utility, sort of AD carries, Vi's ult is great against somebody like Ashe, or great against somebody else who you're going to stun her. I'm going to just ult right through it.
I think Scion is like a Sivir, so you can run away or.
Right, it's not good against Sivir.
Sivir can block it.
What happens if Vi ults a support and Kalista ults that support?
Oh, that could be bad news bears for Vi, I guess. I don't know.
It probably drops it right there.
I would hope so. I don't know. I've never seen that interaction, so. I mean, we've seen some weird interaction stuff with Kalista anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if something screwy happened, like watch Vi be spinning around in like this tempest.
Play safe. If there's Kalista, just ult Kalista. Don't worry about the support. Unless you want to see what happens.
I would hope it would drop it, or else it'd be sort of like the thing that if you're about to teleport and Vi ults you, like if you teleported back to base, Vi doesn't just follow you all the way back. So I would think it'd be kind of the same interaction.
Well, anything else? Punch.
That hour went fast.
Yeah,
we talked about a lot of stuff today.
We're at the end. Yeah, we didn't get to the point of Merlin Nomicon like I wanted to. But that's good because we can talk about it on Wednesday. We might talk about... So if you guys want to know what's going on, Days has been trying Smite on Zyra with picking up Chilling Smite. What the hell is it called? Chilling Smite, Devastating Smite. What the fucking name is it now?
Out of the support role, right?
Out of the support
I still haven't heard the strategy.
It's taking Smite and then getting your Stalker's Blade as quickly as you possibly can, and then using that for lane control. That is the whole point behind what she's talking about.
Okay.
And she has her reasons for building it, and I have my reasons why you might not want to or why you might want to. I've been trying to help her as much as I can to get to it. Like, I feel like everybody's trying to paint me in a bad light. Like, I'm completely against it, and I was, but
Well, you are an asshole.
I am an asshole, and I will admit that I'm.
Is it because my promo posters of you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've been helping her. I've been doing math and saying, this is the quickest you can get it, like, math wise and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm really interested in what she has to say because we've never been able to talk about it in person. So that conversation will come one day. If it's not Wednesday, it'll come one day.
Someday.
So yeah, that's what that was. It's kind of like a clear up there. Other than that, we'll talk about Relonomicon on Wednesday versus the themes and why you had to pick it. I know we spent a lot of time on what picks and bans you had to do this patch, but that's what the whole point of this was. Oh, shut up, Dom. Yes, you've been doing the math. You've been helping me quite a bit. Anyway, that's the Trinity Force podcast this week. Guys, don't forget to go check out Prolific Games, bit.ly/T-Force game. Go help them. They are funded in the Kickstarter, but you can get awesome board games to go play on Christmas with all your family and everything. And it's cheap. It's like $40. Go give these guys money. Like, why give us money? Give them money. It's fine. I'm happy with it. So that's it. That's episode number 217 of the Trinity Force podcast. We're done. So peace.
Bye, guys.
Have a great night.
Hey, guys.